Hey everyone, hope you had a great Thanksgiving break, and we're right back to it in this course, continuing to read the two textbooks, the book by Dyer and the book by Song. So I'm getting caught up on your posts and your quizzes after I've been traveling for the last week. I should be a lot more attentive to get it up day to day. I will comment on your work, on your post, but just a couple of things to keep in mind right now. If you're not getting as many points as you would like, it's probably because you're not writing enough. So if you're only putting a sentence or two, maybe expand it. If I ask you to explain a concept, make sure you're explaining it adequately so that someone who's never read it before would understand the concept. For instance, networked individualism, which came up in a recent quiz. As you're explaining what that means to a Christian, you might start by saying, here's what networked individualism is. Here's why it might be problematic from a Christian perspective. So that would be an example of a full response. And so if I dock you a few points for that, that's why. And the same with your discussion board post. Aim for about 200 words on those initial posts. So this is really a chance to reflect on what you're reading and what you're thinking about. Remember that other people are going to be responding, so give them something to respond to. Make strong claims. That'll keep the conversation going and keep it interesting for everyone. And then in your responses, also try to keep those substantial as well. Shoot for maybe 50 words on your responses and really engage with what's being said. So I'll probably start grading those a little bit more closely as well. Now that I'll be able to do it day to day. And keep an eye on the comments there. I hope you are benefiting from some of the concepts, especially Dyer. I already saw that some of you have begun to change the way that you're talking about technology. Really just a shift from thinking of technology as certain devices, phones, laptops, and thinking more broadly about technology as intangible things like AI, but also technological systems like the highway network on which our cars drive. So it's much bigger than just the devices. We're going to come back to that distinction, to a distinction between tools and devices toward the end of that book as well. This week, as I've said, we're looking at the story that technology tells, and we're comparing it with the biblical story. So beginning tomorrow and the next day, you'll be diving into Dyer's chapters on the biblical narrative. You'll also look at what Song says theologically. And then toward the end of the week, on Thursday and Friday, we're going to look at a secular story of technology. Sometimes it's called technological utopianism, or transhumanism, or posthumanism. So we're going to look at that story. We're going to look at what it says about our future, what its hope is, what salvation looks like in this system, and so on. One thing that we're also going to do is take a look at some sci-fi, and I'll ask you to view some science fiction media, or maybe to choose your own, and to see how you see that story represented in that media. Next week, we'll think more about practices around technology. So here we'll lean more heavily on Song than Dyer. She's going to talk about these liturgies, cultural liturgies, Christian liturgies. You will engage in a little bit of habit forming next week. That'll be your big assignment for next week. So anyway, just looking ahead to that. Well, I've really enjoyed reading your work so far, and just keep the good work coming. One final thing, please do on those discussion board post your initial entry the day of, and then start the next day by looking back over the other posts. Some of you are doing it all in one day, and you just lose out on that bit of review that comes from doing it the next day. You also may not be able to see what everyone's written if you just do it immediately, because not everyone has posted yet. So try to keep up that rhythm of you post on one day and then you read and respond first thing on the next day. Well, as I always say, please let me know if you need anything or have any questions. You can text or call or email, and I would love to hear from you. So Well, until next time, keep the good work up.